So roughly this time last year, the Sims team did a live stream where they showed us that they were going to be doing an NPC overhaul of all of the Sims 4 Townies. This came after a lot of backfire, saying that a lot of the Sims 4 Townies had been whitewashed or just very bland looking. I actually found this Reddit post to show you what I mean. So you see from Sims 2 to Sims 3, Don Lothario, Isabella Monte, but going on to the Sims 4 Townies as well, like you can see the Calientes have been definitely whitewashed. The Goth family as well, whitewashed. Of course, we did get the Goth family reset where they actually changed it completely. In order to do so, they actually worked with members of the Sims community and they helped design them, and then they got some community feedback from that. But since then, we haven't really had anything else, and a lot of Sims have been wondering what is going on. So somebody was just asking the Sims team something about kits, but then somebody else replied to that saying, when are the Caliente household getting their overhaul? One of the EA employees said, we're getting close, no date just yet, but we've wrapped up our feedback sessions with the community members. Another person asked, are you adding in the Townie overhauls bit by bit, or was a Goth family overhaul update just a surprise edition? In which the same employee replied, bit by bit things take time. For example, the nose for the new Mortimer was a brand new sculpt which takes time to make, blah blah blah. It's also a part of our efforts to expand representation in base game presets. Just to confirm, by the way, the presets makes reference to all of these different additions to the game. Each one is like a different mesh and they have to model them all differently. The actual Goth refresh seems to be a very welcome addition to the game. It did come with some criticism and controversy, especially surrounding Alexander Goth, because as a child he looks quite normal and cute, but then when you raise him up to be an adult, excluding the hair, his face does look very, very eccentric, and I think it's something that wasn't really considered before. So I do hope when it comes to the new Townie overhauls that they do consider it a bit more, and I actually hope that they do spend a lot more time and effort actually making sure that they look right. But this actual nose, by the way, is a brand new preset that came in the game, and this one didn't exist before, which is why it took some time. Obviously, when you look at the concept art versus what they actually look like now, it is very, very different. So clearly it is a process that does take time to do. In addition to that, one other very, very, very huge thing that they haven't really mentioned yet is stories. As most of you know, the majority of Townies in The Sims 4 don't even know each other. All of their storyline and lore is basically non-existent. We did have hints before that they may try and bring that back in the game. A lot of people in the Sims community have definitely been very vocal about bringing all that stuff back. EA originally stated that they didn't add storylines into The Sims 4 or lore between the characters because they wanted you to make it your way, you as a player decide what happens, blah blah blah. It was just laziness, guys, or a lack of time, let's be honest. Now The Sims is 8 years on, the base game is free, they promised us loads of free updates. I really, really do hope that they work on storyline and lore as well as Townie progression, because we do need story progression as well. Like, it's a thing that basically all Simmers want. It's just not clear at this stage how they're actually going about it, because the last one was a year ago. I mean, if it's taking an entire year just to refresh, for example, one more household, they are clearly not putting enough time and resources into actually doing this. If they're actually just going to give us all of them in one big bulk, then that'll be fine. Like, I would expect it to take a year, but we haven't really had that many updates, especially seeming that it's around quite a sensitive topic, which is whitewashing and things. You'd think they'd be a little bit more vocal about it. I would like them to be a lot more clear about it and give us an official message. We know we're getting them for the households in Willow Creek and Oasis Springs, the two main base game worlds, and that'll be a lot of households. I mean, to be fair, to give them credit, I'm happy that they're actually sculpting new meshes instead of just revamping them in CAS based on what we already have. Like, I'm really glad that they're actually changing it all up. I mean, let's be honest, all of these base game face meshes that we've had ever since Sims came out are literally terrible. I don't know anybody who's ever used any of these and pulled them off. So I think it would be nice to have some new meshes, especially seeming like the majority of these are white as well. Like, I haven't really, because I don't really look at this, I've never really noticed before, but they are. There's only like 4 black ones. So that probably needs a bit of a change too. It's just, why is it taking so long? And you know, to make matters even worse, these Townie refreshes were not only promised to start with Willow Creek and Oasis Springs, they actually said that they go all the way up to the cottage living world, Henford upon Shagley. That is a lot of Townies to refresh, and especially when you consider like the amount of packs we're getting for The Sims 4 now has dropped massively. And if you consider as well, like 2 packs that we get every single time are always going to be 2 kits. Kits are obviously significantly easier to make than even just like a stuff pack, so it's not like they don't have the time, it's not like they don't have the money, funny because they're EA. What don't they have? Do they not have spark? I mean, as a creative, I get that myself. Like sometimes I just sit on my computer and I'll be sitting there for like 10 hours and I'll achieve like literally nothing because I just don't have the creative spark, like writer's block they call it. Maybe that's it, I don't know. They did acknowledge that every single Townie needs unique care and attention, so it's nice that we're getting quality, but I would like a lot more transparency too. I know a lot of other simmers would like some transparency too. The tweet saying that we've wrapped up our community feedback sessions suggests that they are actually in the process of finalizing it. We just don't know how many Townies are actually finalizing. I'm really curious what you guys think, because I know a lot of people were really happy about it, but then some other people didn't really care. I personally don't really care what Townies look like, as long as they're like representative of enough demographics. The most important thing to me is storyline and lore, and that's something that we don't have yet. And until we have that, I'm not gonna say like I'm super duper excited for the refreshes, because personally I don't play with the Townies anyway, because they don't have any stories, they don't have any lore. The only time I ever see the Townies is when they come over to the welcome wagon, or if I go into a community lot and they just randomly walk around. I don't really like to interact with them that well, so it's not something that's really going to affect me with the way I play. But if it's something that you think affects you, let me know. By the way, on a completely unrelated topic, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about my trip to Japan. It's something that I never spoken about before because like it is a bit dark and a bit deep, but I know some of you are interested, so I actually have another video on my other channel. This is where I basically talk about my experience of living in Japan and why I didn't really like it that much. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss any future updates. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.